as well. And you kind of created a traveling Wilbury-ish type of experience. Like you had so much talent there that you just brought
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
Was
yeah. It is kind of amazing. We've done that. So we called it the Extreme Leadership Experience, and we've done several of them. The last one, which you were also at, was literally 2 weeks before the world shut down. It was in somehow was able to connect with them through that work, and it's just been. I never expected it. I didn't plan it, but that's the way my life has worked out with those things.
Well, I have a theory about that. And the theory is that when you do a book, you don't know that that automatically makes you an authority, which
Should
shifts.
consider doing for themselves. There is a responsibility, I believe, in the author to do the best they can to be the example of what they're asking other people to do. And that is a very high bar. It's a very high standard, and it's something that is can be frightening. So, for example, my work is all about operationalizing love, particularly in business, because that's my playground. Which means that I have to do the best I can to be the walking, talking Barry Posner.
Really?
Yeah, and they're the authors of the Leadership Challenge. Their body of work on leadership is second to none around the world. They have a whole body of research on credibility, which is what this book is based on. So we're partners in this book. I'm writing it because it's in that same universe as Leap, Edge, and GTY. It's a business novel with story and characters and all of that. And it's my way of paying tribute to these guys whose body of work has so deeply influenced my own.
All right. Welcome to the Dr. Smiley Show. And we have a beautiful guest, heart-centered leader, someone that I just really love as a friend and as a leader, as someone that I just want to honor today because it is his birthday. So happy birthday, Steve.
Thank you, Ken. Or should I call you Dr. Smiley?
Your choice, whatever makes you
Okay.
happier, especially on your birthday.
Okay, it'll be Ken then.
And by the way, you can even call me late for dinner, just as long as you're paying.
Yeah, right.
So how's your birthday so far?
Well, it's great. It's great. If my day is no different than any other day, I pretty much work all the time, which means I don't work hardly at all because my work does not feel like work.
So the big 47, I remember that some 30 years ago. 47. What a year.
Well, I look pretty damn old for 47. But for 67, it's all right. I'll take it. Yeah, 67, 3 years away from 70. What's interesting is it's a funny thing. I don't know if it only happens in my life, but everybody around me gets older at the same time I do. That could be just unique to me and my situation, but I find myself, so many of my friends are in their 70s, right? Early 70s, mid 70s, a couple of them in their late 70s, one or two in their 80s, just approaching their 80s. And I find myself constantly looking, it's like I'm looking into the future. So I'll look at a friend of mine who's, say, 75 years old, and I'll say, man, what an inspiration. I want to be that energetic, that youthful, that active when I'm 75. So I have this constant, it feels like it's this constant glimpse into the future by looking at my friends who are a bit older than me. So it's cool. It's like a rolling inspiration train of some
That's
sort.
really cool. That is very cool. What I love about you is that you have, like, your hair is as black as your shirt, and you take the time to go to Target and you get the gray from men and you put it in there.
I do.
So
Yeah.
it has those highlights.
I use the shampoo, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Yeah. It works pretty well, doesn't it?
It does. Otherwise,
I'd
authentic.
be white as snow. But I do have hair. I would say, just for the record.
Well, if you go to my Facebook page, which is where the live is at this point, you'll see that my 61st book is Bald, Bold Book, and it's people that have better haircuts than you. So just so we've known each other a while. I think we're pushing around 10 years.
See, I think that's about right. We met originally at CEO Space, I think. Did we?
CEO
Did we
Space
not?
and then Secret Knock a couple times.
Secret Knock, yeah.
I think we had dinner at that and there. And you've been on my show before, but it was back when I was with Voice America Amplified. And this is a new dynamic of just really saying, wow, I have this very large network of people and I can't get to them all. So I want to have one person I pick a day, especially on their birthday, and just say thank you. Thank you for showing up in the world. Thank you for being someone that really cares about humanity, cares about leadership, cares about bettering the world. So, with all sincerity, and by the way, I know this show is going to get a little emotional at times. I brought some tissue with me. Oh, you have some too.
That's very kind of you to say, Ken. No, but
Well,
seriously, that's very kind. I appreciate that.
yeah, and you know that when I've been at your events, it's because I care about your message. I care
Yeah.
about serving the people you're serving, and that when you actually are awakened with your purpose, it is actually illuminates you that you can play really big, and you can have the people that you love say, wow, thank you, you made that difference for me. So
I was thinking about that this morning because coincidentally, I was looking at some video of the first event of ours that you attended and shot photographs for, which was January 7 years ago,
hmm,
because we did it in my 60th birthday
right,
month,
yes,
and it was one of my. We've done some great events, but it was one of my favorite events of all time, and it culminated in an evening which was literally, and literally is a word I use literally one of the highlight evenings of my life, which was it was like a 60th birthday party, quote
hmm,
unquote, but it was also a concert where we released my EP called "There's Not a Dream I Wouldn't Keep." So I did a show with the brothers Corin. We performed all the songs from the CD. We're joined by Sandra Joseph, who's the longest running Christine in Phantom of the Opera
right.
in Broadway history, longest running leading lady in Broadway history, and a very dear friend of mine. And it was just magic. That whole thing was magic, and you captured so much of that with your photos. We've got some great. Oh, there it is. There's Sandra. There she is.
Yeah, and
Oh
it's
my
kind of
gosh,
it
great
was.
photos.
Oh, and then this gentleman here, I love this guy.
Yeah, Alan Carl.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And by the way, I'll just show off the book that was created as a result of the amazing people. So when I do an event and I have the people that you attract, I can't help but legicize it. I mean, that's what you're doing when you put a book. You're saying it matters so much, it's going to
Yeah.
go in print. And I gave this to you at the following year. And you actually created on your 60th birthday what I did this past year for my 60th. You said, this is a milestone. This is where I thank people that got me here. This is where I celebrate. And this is where I say the next chapter is going to be interesting as well. And you kind of created a traveling Wilbury-ish type of experience. Like you had so much talent there that you just brought
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
beautiful.
it is kind of amazing. We've done that. So we called it the Extreme Leadership Experience, and we've done several of them. The last one, which you were also at, was literally 2 weeks before the world shut down. It was in February. It was a leap year, so it was a
Yes.
leap event.
It was a
And
radical leap year.
was a radical leap year, and that was the last one that we've done. But every one of the extreme leadership experience events that we've done, that's been the characteristic of it. Is it's my opportunity to bring together people that I love in this world, in this industry, and in business, who have a philosophy and an approach to life that's very simpatico with my own, and they are truly amazing people, and very accomplished in their own right, and have something really inspiring to offer the rest of us. And it's a really interesting kind of blend of people because you've got people from business and people from the field of education and the nonprofit world and musicians. And, it sounds like a freaking carnival, when I say it like that. And it kind of is.
It kind of is. I was going to say that's a compliment because you're bringing humanity together as creatives.
Yeah. So no actual animal acts or, dancing dogs or anything like that. But it feels like we get pretty close to it sometimes in our own way. And always lots of music and all that. But we haven't done an event like that since that last one, right before COVID. And I do want to do more. Just not quite ready to do it yet.
Well, hopefully this conversation will perpetuate at least me seeing what I can do to help accelerate that possibility, because it is magic. And when you show up at an event like that, if you choose to stay in touch with people, your life has changed.
It's a great point. There have been a lot, and something I'm very proud of. There have been a lot of really deep, great, genuine friendships that have developed among people that attended my events that didn't know each other at all. And then minutes later, literally, again, there's that word, minutes later, found friends for life. It's incredibly gratifying. And that should be reason enough to do another one. I just have to convince myself.
Well, you are literally using the word literally so well, because I heard someone the other day at Cane's, Raising Cane's, and she turned to her friend. She goes, "I love this chicken so much. I literally died when I ate it the first time." And I was like,
"Literally died." Yes, one of my kids used to use that word all the time. It was like, I was so excited, my head literally exploded. I said, "No, I see it. It's sitting right there on the top of your neck. I see it."
Well, I have two books I'd like to give the world. One is the reason I kind of contacted you. This is my golden birthday book. It's people that I find out of the 20, 30 people I know that Facebook tells me I know that have birthdays. I picked the one that Google says also is making a difference. And by the way, yeah, me too. But just to give you an idea, the company that you keep, just for January, we had John Asraf. If you have his phone number, tell him I want to have him on the show. I don't have his phone number. Brian Tracy a couple days ago, and you're with the most winningest coach on one side, and you are January 7th. So, awesome. I don't know what this is going to do, but it's almost like the voice said, this would really be a game changer for not just your life, but I think the most important thing you can do for people is let them know that they made a difference for you. And I think that's missed a lot of times. It's like writing a review to a book. When you don't write a review for a book and you enjoyed it so much, you're actually cheating yourself more than the author. That actually makes them want to do it again, makes them want to do a lot more.
I have, when the Radical Leap first came out, which was 20 years ago now.
Crazy.
First edition was 20 years ago. What I didn't expect was the people I would meet and the friendships I would make as a result of that book being out there. And I was surrounded by authors, right? So my mentors were, Tom Peters, was one of the greatest management thinkers of our time. Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner, the authors of the Leadership Challenge. We can talk more about that later. But I was surrounded by these great authors, and they were very helpful to me when I was putting my first book out. And were telling me about what the experience of being an author is like and all that. None of them prepared me, said anything about the personal relationship side of the equation. And the way it started to happen was almost immediately after Leap came out, I started getting emails from people who read the book and took the time to tell me about it. So I figured, well, if somebody's going to be that generous with their time and actually sit down and write to me about their experience in the book, I'm going to call them. So that's what I started doing. I'd get an email from somebody, I'd pick up the phone and I'd call them. And it was so much fun because, first of all, they never in a million years expected that to happen. And I remember one of them in particular hung up on me because
really,
he didn't. I said, hey man, it's Steve Farber calling. Yeah, sure. Click. I said, geez, I had to call him back a couple of times, but I have friends now because of that. They had the generosity of heart to reach out to me, and I took the time to call them versus sending an email saying, "Hey, thanks," and there you go. And it's just so all of these people that you experienced at these events that I've met, so I'm going to say 90% of them are there because of the books that I've written, and somehow was able to connect with them through that work. And it's just been, I never expected it. I didn't plan it, but that's the way my life has worked out with those things.
Well, I have a theory about that. And the theory is that when you do a book, you don't know that that automatically makes you an authority, which shifts the way people think of you. But the
Right.
second part of it is that you hold yourself to a new standard, because when you write something, you actually have to own the fact that you're declaring it. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
and so when
Oh,
you
yeah.
write it and then you're giving it to people, see, I think a lot of people miss all the juice you're talking about because they do the book, but they don't have the book do them. And so what you did when you had the book was you said, this is a gift I want to give to people, or I want to connect with people now that I'm in their peer space. And it costs not only just relationships, but it's like the person that says, I'm never going to travel because it costs too much. Well, if you travel, all of a sudden your mind gets bigger, your
Yeah.
abundance gets bigger, your relationships get bigger. And so a book causes that. So I want to say that your book literally has words like on every page, literally. And and
It's one of those kind of books.
well, when I saw Radical Leap, I thought it was like there was going to be tons of pictures and you just leap to the back. And I was like, there's so many words you have to actually read to get through this book.
But they're damn good words. They're damn good words, and they form together into lovely sentences and then paragraphs and whole pages. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I am sad about something, but I'm going to
Yeah.
preface this with just saying your book, Love is Damn Good Business. I really wanted to have that in my hand. So if you have those books on hand, I bought them all. I have them all from the events as well. So I have a couple copies. But
I actually have a stack of books here because I've been doing some things that requires
yeah,
my.
that book was such a that
So here's Love is Just Damn Good Business. Now, what you might find interesting about this is I've bookmarked my own book. I don't remember why in this case. But yeah, thank you for that. But I
Would you
do
say
want to
that's your
say
best
something.
book?
What's that?
Would you say that's your best book?
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't. I would say that, well, it depends on what you mean by best. So it's really interesting. That book is very different from the others because, I'll just give you the historical timeline here. Radical Leap, followed by The Radical Edge, followed by Greater Than Yourself. And then was Love is Just Damn Good Business. And then I wrote another book with my friend J.J. French, who's the founder of Twisted Sister,
Right.
about his story in rock and roll called Twisted Business, which was a bit off-brand for me, but a labor of love, and it's a great book. So the Leap, Edge, and Greater Than Yourself are all written as novels. They're business parables is the genre. Love is Just Damn Good Business is not. It's more of a traditionally written book. So they're very different experiences. For me to say which is my favorite book, I could tell you that The Radical Leap has been, even though it was my first book, it's been the foundation for everything that I've done. So LEAP stands for Love, Energy, Audacity, and Proof. And that's the methodology that I teach, and the people that I've certified teach, and it runs through in some way. There's an application of it in everything that I've done. So the Radical Leap itself has been foundational for me, and it's evergreen. I mean, I still meet people because they've just read the book, even though it was first published 20 years ago.
Right.
And in fact, what we're doing now is I'm offering the book for free to people in audiobook form. So if you go to radicalleap.org, you can download a copy of the audiobook for free. Because what I've learned is that that book, I'm not gonna claim that everybody who reads that book or listens to it connects with it, but a lot of people do. And those that do tend to connect very deeply with the message of it. So I figure, let me just get it to as many people as possible.
That's the way to do it.
So
people that try and sell books when they don't have a name yet are missing the point that the book is actually a business card that gets inspiration to happen for someone to want to follow you, buy from you, etc. So I want
Yes.
to say a couple things before my ADHD kicks in. So
Okay.
first of all, I literally have a little bit of advice for you because you gave me some advice for the show. I was looking like this at you on the show, and you're like, Ken, the audience doesn't see you really looking at me. Why don't you turn your face this way? And I was like, wow, this is so different because now I'm actually seeing you. But
Yeah.
when I was doing the shows this way, I only saw the boxes of books over here. I wasn't seeing my guests. So thank you for that. And also just getting the composition,
Yeah. The
or
framing.
as a French would say, the composition. Okay. So
Of
just
course
to
they
show
do.
up. But for this book, since it is 20 years, I think it's time for you to look at the E-Myth Revisited or the Tipping Point Revisited. I would go with the Radical Leap Revisited in small print and change the L from love to literally.
Yeah. I'll take it under advisement. That's I never say no to an idea because there could be something great hidden very deeply, very, very
So
deep.
we're going to go backwards now. This is where I normally start my shows, but we had so much fun. We had to catch up.
Before you do that,
Yes, sir.
I got to say something before my whatever it is kicks in. Because you made a comment a couple of minutes ago that went by kind of fast. I want to go back to it. And that is there is a you didn't say it this way, but the way I heard it is when you write a book, particularly a book that is recommending to people what they should consider doing for themselves, there is a responsibility, I believe, in the author to do the best they can to be the example of what they're asking other people to do. And that is a very high bar. It's a very high standard, and it's something that is can be frightening. So, for example, my work is all about operationalizing love, particularly in business, because that's my playground. Which means that I have to do the best I can to be the walking, talking, living, breathing example of what love looks like in business and everywhere else.
Mm.
And just like everybody else, I have good days and bad days, and some days that's easier to do than other days. But it's true in any of any of the books. So Greater Than Yourself. And by the way, I was just fishing around for this morning because we're about to release this book in paperback. Here's the original cover of Greater Than Yourself, and it's got a little bit of glare on it there.
Yep.
And the foreword is by Pat Lencioni and Matthew Kelly.
May I cut in real quick with some advisement since you're a good guy?
Yeah, sure.
Matte finish for the paperback, not gloss.
Okay, gotcha.
Great for photos, great for podcasts.
And we should, let's talk about that offline, as they say. But anyway, so this book, Greater Than Yourself, the premise of the book is the greatest leaders become the greatest leaders by making others greater than themselves. It's a bit of a paradox. So it's kind of mentoring on steroids.
Yeah.
So our job as leaders is to do whatever we can to lift other people up. So as I was writing this book, I'm going like, holy shit. What expectation is that going to set of me?
Right.
Am I the kind of person that lifts everybody up above myself? And the answer is no, not everybody. And I figured, well, if this is going to be a challenge for me, it's going to, as a person who is just completely absorbed in this kind of thought, how hard is that going to be for your typical business person who's never even thought about this before?
Right.
And the answer is very, very hard. So I had to adjust my own expectations and therefore the expectations of my readers, which is to say, no, it's not about perfection. It's not about, do I aspire to be the kind of person that can lift everybody up all the time? Sure, I aspire to it, but I know I could do that for somebody. I know I could do it for one person. So that's the call to action of the book. Pick one person that you can really pour yourself into to raise that person up above yourself. And so I can claim that. So my point is, I will never ask anybody to do anything that I'm not willing to at least really, really strive to do myself first. And the book that I'm writing now, I'm about a little more than a third of the way through, is significant for a couple of reasons. First of all, along those lines, it's the most terrifying book I've ever written.
Wow.
Because it's all about the power and the challenge of doing what you say you will do. So it's really about credibility, personal credibility. And the other thing that's significant about this, and I really haven't talked about this publicly before, but I'm co-writing this book with my mentors, Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner.
Really?
Yeah, and they're the authors of the Leadership Challenge. Their body of work on leadership is second to none around the world. They have a whole body of research on credibility, which is what this book is based on. So we're partners in this book. I'm writing it because it's in that same universe as Leap, Edge, and GTY. It's a business novel with story and characters and all of that. And it's my way of paying tribute to these guys whose body of work has so deeply influenced my own. So it's terrifying in that respect as well. It's terrifying because I'm going to become the guy who's like, hey, I sent you an email and you didn't respond. Do what you say you will do, guy. It's like, oh, you told me you were going to call me last week, but you didn't. Do what you say you will do, guy. That's what's going on in my head. It's like, holy smokes, this is going to be a challenge to live up to, but the right kind of challenge. And the other reason it's terrifying is that I want it to be great for Jim and Barry because it's my tribute to them. But writing a book is a very personal thing. Now, having said all of that, you and I both know people who write books that don't. It's not even. They don't care. They don't model what they write about or even preach about from the stage, and they just don't care. And they're putting on a show, and you know what? Cool, good for them. But that is not where I come from, and it's not where I believe a person should come from. If I could be.
Yeah, but Steve, there's a reason that happens. They're taking the short road, and if everyone did what you did, you're not special. So there's a reason your events are so special and why you're attracting such cool people. And I'm glad that you didn't say when you wanted to lift everybody up that you didn't say I want to literally lift everyone up. So thank you for that. You and I are not alike in one regard, and it's a pretty huge gap between us. You said that you're like any other human. You have bad days, you have sad days, etc. But with this card, I hold this card and it shields me from any bad days. I have only euphoric and unbelievably great positive days.
Well, I also acknowledge that there are people like that.
Yes.
And you may very well be one of them, or that could be your sarcastic sense of humor. I don't know. But let's assume for a minute that you're speaking literally. That's wonderful, and I aspire to that too. And I'm not saying there aren't people like that. I'm just saying I'm not one of them. I try to get close to it.
So, Steve, the reason that shift, not that it's on your book, but out of the 300 books, I would say about 100 of them have the word shift happens because when you smile, you train your brain to shift into gratitude. You train your brain to say, why am I in this funk? This is not who I want to be. And so yes, I am fighting it at times, but the fight is so quick now because when I see something, I go, well, yeah, but I have a son. Hey, I have my health. Hey, I'm doing what I want to do in my life. And those things conquer the little BS things we can focus on that really don't serve us.
It's a great reminder. Reminder.
So there's this thing called childhood and birthplace. And I know that people could dig in probably 5 years ago when I did a show with you last, but could you give the 3 to 5 minute version of how you became who you are, just kind of highlighting where you're born, what your childhood was like? Did something happen in your childhood that caused you to be who you are?
Yeah, it is a very deep question. I'll give it my best shot in a couple of minutes. the most significant event of my life, I would say, happened when I was 8 years old, and that's when my mother died. So from the time I was 8 years old, I was the kid whose mother died, the kid with no mom. And I remember, with the benefit of hindsight, I remember how I responded to it. Obviously, I was grief stricken, not the word that I would have used at that time, but you can imagine what that vacuum feels like all of a sudden. But I also was surrounded by such love from family and my neighbors in the neighborhood that I lived in with my little friends and their parents. And they all really, I could just feel it now, how much they reached out to me. So I made a choice, and it wasn't an intellectual choice. In retrospect, I see that it was a choice. The choice I could have made was I could have been the victim, the kid whose mother died. Or I could be the person who was a little different, in a positive way. So it did kind of set me apart. And I learned about the value of community and family and friendship and relationship because I was the recipient of such warmth through all of that. And as well as sympathy. But in my little 8-year-old brain and experience, it was that combination of that feeling of tremendous loss and the feeling of tremendous love and support through that loss. And I think that carried through throughout my life. I mean, obviously it carried through in some way. Nobody can have that experience and not have it affect them. But I think it carried through, in the balance sheet kind of thinking about it, carried through in a very positive way. And then,
who was your mom to you? I mean, I don't know what it was like to be 8 and my relationship with my mom, but what do you recall?
who was she to me?
Yeah, like were you really close? Did she?
Yeah, so we were close, but my memories of her, my conscious memories of her, she was in and out of the hospital. She died of cancer. It started as colon cancer that wasn't caught and then spread. I had no knowledge of any of this.
Hmm.
All I knew was that my mother was in and out of the hospital. I didn't even know she was fighting for her life because my father's generation, they felt that the way to protect the children was to keep them in the dark. All came from the best intentions from him. So he told me virtually nothing about what was going on with her. So we'd go visit her in the hospital, and then she'd come home for a while. It was always it was so exciting for me to have her home. And I remember she was in bed. She couldn't get out of bed. All I knew was she was in bed and couldn't get out of bed. So I gave her a little bell, little, hand bell. And I said, anytime you need something, just ring this bell and I'll come and help you. So that I remember. So it was, and she was very sweet, and it was a very, warm connection with her. And then one day she was gone. And my father had to tell me, he tried his best to give me the news. And he said, your mom is no longer with us. And I said, what do you mean? I said, well, she's passed on. I said, well, what does that mean? He said, well, she died. I mean, it took him a while to get there. And it was like total shock. Whereas somebody who would have been, like my sister is 7 years older, and my brother 9 years older, they knew what was going on. I did not. So my recollection of her is just that period of time when she was in and out of the hospital, and then the absence of her. So I can't say that I had a close relationship. I mean, I don't know. It's whatever relationship a child has with their mother at that age. You don't think about it. You don't try to characterize it. It's just
I get it. So let me ask a deeper question, and then we can move past this. But you're sharing something that means a lot to me because I lost my mom, and that caused me to write my first book. And even though I was 50 at the time that I lost her, she was my hero, and I was a
Yeah.
DJ for my entire life before that. I mean, so
Hmm.
that's actually, I'm sorry, I was 40 because I've been doing this for 20 years. So
Wow.
I was 40, and so I it hits me when you say this, and so I wanted to know, because for me, my mom passed, and I awakened to say I'm now going to pay really big in life because life is precious. So
Hmm.
did did you have? I mean, the fact that you've written so many books and that you're such a stand for leadership and you really do play big. I was just wondering, is there a correlation that even subconsciously that you think my mom passed and life is precious or something like that?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't made that connection before. I suppose it's possible. I I do know that my life, in a lot of ways, was characterized through my teenage years by loss. I had other relatives that I loved that died or died suddenly, and seeing my father try to cope with all of that. And then my father died. I was pretty young as well. I was 20, something like that, and he and I were very close. So I've seen a lot of loss. Certainly nowhere near as much as others have. Um, and does that give me a feeling for how precious life is? Yeah, but I don't think it would have taken that. I mean, to me, it's just obvious how
Yeah,
precious life is. Um, I can't claim that, my attitude is I've got to make every second count. Every second's got to be, I got to be productive with every second because life is precious. I'm perfectly happy to sit on the TV,
no, but actually,
sit on the
like,
couch and watch TV for hours.
yeah, but Steve, you said something that was obvious though, and for me, I'm telling you, at age 40, it was not obvious to me that life was precious. So
Yeah.
just so you know, I did want to take a quick
No,
second.
and I'm not claiming it's obvious to everybody. I'm saying, but it is obvious to me. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to share your
Yeah.
co-author,
Yeah.
uh, and what an amazing guy, and I love what he said on stage about how he dealt with music and business, and that
Yeah.
most musicians don't stay in the music business because they don't do the business part of music.
Right.
And then here's the Corn Brothers. I should have had them on the same page, but there's one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's the other. And I want to say this: I'm giving this book to everyone on Steve's birthday. Anyone that DMs me, you can get his story. His story is in here. A lot of what he's sharing about his journey of how he became who he is, his mission, and how he does a really great job of changing the world and making it better. So anyone that wants this, just DM me. I'll send you a PDF of it. And
Fantastic.
there was something else I want to say. We were talking a lot about loss of
Yeah.
life, and I guess this is a little bit of a zinger. So I mean, get this thing ready. Okay. Um, you moved from San Diego to Kansas City, and all of a sudden the Chiefs started winning. I mean, you went help.
I can claim total responsibility for that.
It's beautiful. I mean, a lot of people ask what happened, and then I find out that you had moved from San Diego to Kansas City. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, that all makes sense. Yeah,
Did they read? Did you
this is
ask
the
them to read the
classic.
book? You asked them to read the book, and all of a sudden, it's
This is the classic, correlation versus causation discussion. um, yeah, so we moved to Kansas City just over 2 years ago, from San Diego, and of course, when I say that to people, the first question they ask is,
why.
why? My big joke was for the weather, and just a couple of days ago, we had the biggest snow dump in Kansas City in 32 years. So I'm half. After we're done with the show, I got to go out and finish clearing the driveway.
If I lived
A foot
closer
of
for your
snow.
birthday, I would actually do that with you or for you.
That would be fantastic. Um, but we moved here. We moved here because we had a grandbaby. Now there are two grandbabies in town. So between my wife Veronica and me, we have 6 kids. So I have 3 stepdaughters who are. To call them stepdaughters is technically true, but it's much deeper than that. We got married when they were 5, 8, and 11 years old, and so between our 6 kids, there were no grandbabies. I was like, "Come on, man! Not one of these bastards is giving us anything." And then the youngest, Presley, was the first one to have a child, And we were in San Diego. They lived in Kansas City because she went to school in Kansas, met her husband who was from Kansas at school. They settled in Kansas City, the Kansas City area. They were the first ones, to have a baby, and we knew they were going to be the first ones. And my wife said to me one day, she said, listen, just so you know, when Presley and Tanner have a baby, I'm moving to Kansas City. And you are welcome to join me if you'd like. That was kind of the joke, right? And then she got pregnant, and not my wife, but Presley got pregnant, and then it became serious. Like, oh, are we really going to do this? And this was during COVID. We were sitting on the couch one night in our great condo in San Diego, overlooking San Diego Bay and the Star of India. If anybody knows San Diego, that ship that's in the harbor, that was the view from our living room. It's a fantastic place. None of our kids were in San Diego. And Veronica was in a funk one night, and she looked at me and she said, she said, nobody we love lives anywhere near us. And I said, all right, well, let's get the hell out of here then. Let's go. That's when we decided to go.
That's awesome.
So we moved here, bought ourselves a nice house in a great neighborhood, met more neighbors in the first 2 weeks here than we did in 18 years in the same neighborhood in San Diego. Within an hour and a half of our arriving at our new house, we were sitting at our neighbor's kitchen. So people in this town are super friendly, and not like pretending to be friendly. I mean, genuinely friendly.
Right.
And the music scene here is phenomenal. I'm playing more music out than I have literally in my life. Literally. So anyway, it's been a tremendous move. Not that we don't miss San Diego, and not that we don't miss, he said, as he dramatically looked out the window at the snow, the weather in San Diego. And we miss our friends in San Diego, but we got a great community going here.
Well, I love that you're humble. You rarely ever boast of the story of how you cajoled Elvis Costello into making the song Veronica for your wife. It's just really.
I have great influence.
So I'm gonna just out of the box. My friend Ed Caldwell made a book called World Power. It's got all kinds of cool words, and we turned them into a deck of cards.
Cool.
And on the seventh day, you get the word antecedent, a thing that exists before or precedes another. So, not sure why you got that word, but you got it. And if you'd like to give a word of the day, I am trying to strengthen my French, Hebrew, Arabic, and Spanish by doing Duolingo. But I didn't know the English language until I did this book with Ed Caldwell, and he came up with 100 words, and I said, "Wow, those are usable in English."
So my word of the day, first word that comes to mind for me is Saba. It's Hebrew. It means it's grandfather. It's Hebrew for grandfather. So my first text message that I got on my birthday this morning was from our little granddaughter, who we moved here for, Ruby. Her name is Ruby. And this is
Happy birthday to you, a puppy. Happy birthday to you.
no, that's the wrong one. Hold on. So I'm gonna play this for you because it has to do with my word of the day.
I was going to say she mispronounced Saba
Yeah.
a little bit.
So here we go.
Cookie. Happy birthday. She's not doing birthdays. It's cookie.
That's the wrong one. Hold on a second. Here, this is the right one. Isn't this compelling
No, but
television?
we're here for you.
Okay.
I'm starting Morrison. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Saba. Happy birthday.
That's beautiful.
There you go.
to you.
Yeah. So to hear her say Saba is one of my favorite words to hear. In that little voice, Saba.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great word because nowadays it's a thing. I didn't realize it, but grandparents choose what they're going to be called by their kids. What do you want by their grandkids? What do you want your? So I remember going through this whole thing. I was like, what do I? And I can't say the word. I don't think that I originally thought of. because I don't want to offend anybody.
A little dicey.
It's a little dicey. It got vetoed by everybody. Nobody thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious. But I settled on Saba because that's the traditional Hebrew Hebrew word for grandfather. It's Saba and Savta, which is really hard to say for grandmother. So my wife is Mimi and I'm Saba. So it's all Mimi and Saba. So to hear her say, "We're going to Mimi and Saba's house," and Mimi and Saba, and then she'll show up and totally diss me and ignore me and all that. But then occasionally I get Saba, I love you, Saba. So that's my word of the day.
That's a great word, and also a great story and real impactful. I mean, that is a beautiful connection to the word love.
Yeah.
So what didn't show up in this show that I want to make sure is included is the importance of music and your guitar. And I know that story could be a keynote speech by itself, but maybe a 2 or 3 minute version of why music's important and maybe some about the guitar on your 60th birthday. We do that.
Sure. Yeah. So I started playing music. I started playing guitar when I was 13 years old. Started writing songs way before that. Not good ones, but started writing songs when I was a kid. And I was going to be a musician. And then I got married young, my first marriage. I had kids right away. And I came to realize that being a working musician and feeding people were mutually exclusive pursuits. So I gave up music and went into business.
The Venn diagram.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking Venn diagram. I was thinking, how do I keep these people from starving? So I went into business. I had a friend who offered me an opportunity to learn the commodities futures business. And that's when I discovered I was an entrepreneur. I ended up having my own small brokerage firm and learned about business. I hated that business, but I learned that I loved business, and I gave up music because I thought that was what I had to do. And as part of giving up the music, I sold my guitar. I had this lovely little guitar called a Gurian, Gurian. And I sold it in 1982 because I needed the money. And that was it. And I didn't want to sell it. And it was a tragic moment for me. And this is the short version of the story, about, 10, 12 years ago now, one day the woman I sold that guitar to reached out to me. And because she saw my name on a webinar or something and just reached out. Said, and one of the things she said was, "Oh, by the way, I still have that guitar you sold me all those years ago." And I said, "If there's any chance in hell that you'd be willing to sell that guitar back to me, I would love to have it back, because I always wanted it back." And she said, "As I recall, you sold me that guitar for $280 in 1982. So I'll sell it back to you for $280 plus shipping." And the reason was, she said, the reason she was so willing to do that and eager, as it turns out, to do that was because she said that she remembered the look on my face when she walked out of my apartment carrying my guitar, and she'd never been able to play that guitar without thinking about my pain. So she didn't play it. It sat in her closet and just kind of fell into disrepair. Right. So I got it back, had it fixed up, and it became like a symbolic message. Well, it was a message more than symbolic. The message was, take music more seriously. And I started to incorporate music into my keynotes, and I'm in the process of recording a new album right now, as a matter of fact. And the brothers Corin, who toured with Pink and Coldplay and Rod Stewart and all, they have a new album that's in the process of releasing right now. They've been my mentors and supporters and encouragers in this whole process, and it's all kind of come full circle. So what I've come to realize is, and I think this is the message for anybody, our passions in life are our passions in life, because life is life. It's not that there's, the expression in work and in life. What a bullshit thing to say. There is no, in work and in life implies that those are two different things. Life is life. Some of that life you spend at work, some of that life you spend in your personal spheres with people at home, but it's your life, and to give up something that we're passionate about because we feel we can't make money at it, or maybe we're not good enough, or is just something that we made up. So I would recommend for anybody, if there's something that you love doing, that you're passionate about, that you gave up on because you couldn't make a living at it or whatever, bring it back. Bring it back and see what that does for you. See what it does for your frame of mind. See what it does for your energy. See what it does for how you show up in everything that you do. For me personally, I was able to figure out a way to integrate music into my business. And of course, the other upside of that is when I when I record an album, I can write it off.
That's right. I was hearing Tom Hanks when you said work and life, and like, there's no crying in baseball. Like, there's no work. There's no work in life. So I came up with this. I'm going to write this and see if I want to turn it into a meme. But there's no work in life if you're doing life right.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, having said that, I'm not suggesting, that it reminds me of the phrase, if you're doing what you love, you never have to work a day in your life.
Right.
I don't think that's accurate. The work that you do, the work that I do, the work that most of us do is hard work.
Yes.
It takes effort. It takes, and it's challenging, and it's scary at times. So this notion that, hey, but if you love what you do, you never have to, yeah, you still got to work. It's just that you are fully cognizant of the price that you're paying in order to do the bigger thing that you love. I don't love everything about my work. I don't love the marketing stuff. I don't love airports.
Carry this with you. Everything will shift.
Well, the thing is, sometimes you have to do work that you don't love in order to do the work that you love.
I thought you were going to get rather vulnerable and share a project you were going to do because of the guitar, and just say, the next book I'm going to write is a book that don't sell your stuff. And if you do, this is the secret way to negotiate the shipping. So you don't have to pay for the shipping. Because I think you get zonked on that part.
I just did not follow that at all.
Well, he says you got to pay the $280 plus the shipping. I think you should be able to negotiate yourself.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I mean,
I'm with you. Okay,
yeah.
Got it. Yeah. What
You're
do you
like
mean?
the show?
Could
the
you,
show is stopped.
Could you include the shipping in that? Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah, that took a downward spiral, didn't it?
It did. Yeah, the fact that you charged me $280 for what I mean, it's like a $1,500 guitar on the market, But that's
Right.
that's what she paid me for it, so that's what she asked for. You just completely just overlook that whole part. What a publisher! How much is shipping? How much does it cost for the books to ship?
So, what is your hairy, audacious goal for this year and till the next birthday?
Yeah, it is. I'm going back to your word antecedent. This last year, maybe 6 months, is an antecedent for my next chapter. So the book that I'm writing, my big, hairy, audacious goal is to actually finish it and get it out there into the world. It's the finishing it part. That's the most audacious, challenging part of it. And then to release my new music into the world. What we're doing there is, I'm recording a very high quality, fully produced album of original music, broadcast quality, in the recording and production of it, because I want to give it a shot. I want to see if I can get that music placed somewhere. I don't have aspirations to be a touring musician, but I would love to see somebody pick up one or more of my songs. I'd love to see one or more of my songs picked up in, for TV commercial. It's called sync, to have music used in, by people who are producing other media. So that's my goal, is to release that music in a way that gives it the best chance of something like that happening. So it's going to be a significant year. I can kind of feel that in my bones. The other thing is we're going to be doing something here that we have not done before. We're not doing a big event, but we're doing a small experience. We're calling it the Extreme Leadership Mastery Circle. It'll be limited to 12 people. It'll be 4-day experience here in Kansas City, and more specifically in my home here in Kansas City. And I'm co-facilitating this with my friend Robert McPhee, who's the former director of training for Jack Canfield's organization. So it's going to be a very deep dive into LEAP. I'm hoping to get in those 12 people representatives from, I'll say 3 or 4 companies who will send, 3 to 4 people. That's kind of the ideal scenario, but anybody who wants to come is welcome. But we are limiting it to 12 people because that is what it's going to take to make it a really significant experience for each person. It's a big enough number that there's lots of opportunity for people to form those relationships and help each other. It's a small enough number that we can give personal attention to everybody. Plus, that's about the number that will fit comfortably into my home. So I've never done that. We've invited people to our home at the end of our events before, but we've never done an entire event here, if event is the right word. And it's the first time we've done this really, highly personalized deep dive approach with such a small group. So I'm very excited about that. We haven't announced it yet. We haven't put up a website page or anything. This is all very, very early stages. We're looking at the June 2025 timeframe. So, early in the summer, and more to come on that. But if anybody listening is interested in potentially joining us for that, just reach out to me and we can have a chat about it.
Well, and also for people that don't want their life to get better, don't want to have more of an edge, and don't want more abundance, this is not the event for you, really.
That's right. Well, that's actually very true. For people who are unwilling, obviously nobody's going to say I don't want that, but what they will say is I don't want to do what it takes to get that. That's the significant difference. So it's not about wishing; it's about doing. So yes, this is going to be very very hands-on and very practical, because we're asking people to come with whatever you're working on right now, whatever situation you're in as a leader in your company or in your business, whatever it is. You're going to bring that here, and we're going to work on that together through the application of Love, Energy, Audacity, Improve.
And as a person that's been to your events before, and also been able to capture the testimonials from the heart of people saying, this is one of the best experiences I've ever had. I love the people here. I see real practical use. I'll just say, Steve, you hit it out of the park when you do your events. You really bring value, but you also bring a way of digesting it and applying it so that it actually makes the difference after the event, which is not, that's something that is very hard to achieve. And I think you really do that well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I know that there's only 12. I wish there was room for a 13 media person, just someone that could really capture it, a 13th person. Person like has a camera. We should talk about that offline.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Do that.
It was really great having you here in this conversation for your birthday. How do people connect with you?
Well, stevefarber.com is where I live, although I was looking at my website this morning and the formatting is all messed up on it. So I could reach out to my web people. But stevefarber.com, you can email me at steve@stevefarber.com. Please don't spam me. And then we've got all the usual social media haunts.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually been playing around on TikTok, which has been
yeah?
fun. Yeah.
Good.
Steve Farber 1, number 1. And then, Steve Farber on Instagram, Steve Farber on Facebook, Steve Farber on
Steve
LinkedIn.
Farber on Amazon too, if I recall.
That's right. That's right. And YouTube. So yes, please stay in touch. And the main thing right now, please go to radicalleap.org and download your copy of the free audiobook of the Radical Leap. Listen, I get great feedback on the book, but I also get great feedback on the audio book because I read it myself right in your ear in
And you got a
dramatic
great
fashion.
voice. You got a great voice for it.
Well, thank you.
You pointed out a part that I spoke about, and you emphasized that point. I'd like to share that I've noticed like 99% of people say they're going to do a book and they don't do a book. And for the first time, I really heard through what you were saying is that you're being called to declare that you are the authority and the expert. And it is a very big leap to say, I'm going to embrace it, own it, and I'm going to commit to it, to the world. And
Yes.
that is why so many people don't do it. And I'm going to just say to the audience, that shift that you get is a big reward you're giving yourself.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yeah, I've learned that when people say to me, because I hear this a lot, as you do, I really want to write a book. They don't mean it.
Right.
What they mean is, I really want to have a book.
Yeah.
The writing, and you can have a book ghostwritten. There's no shame in that. But I don't do it that way. But I know a lot of people who do, and there's no shame in it because it's still your
Well,
work.
there is one shame in it. Is if you go on a podcast and they say, I love what you said about this, and they go, did I say that?
Yeah, well, honestly, I've said that about my own books that I've actually written. So what page? What page was that?
Well, that's the meanest thing a podcaster can do to an author is say, on page 80, what did you mean by that?
That's right. Could you be more specific? So yeah, I mean, but even if you have it ghostwritten, it takes work. You've got to express your ideas to this person who's writing it for you. And as you said, the responsibility of now living up to that is a great opportunity for people, for our own growth and development. Absolutely.
So to keep this kind of lib on the exit, I got 5 trivia questions that are, you just don't have enough time in a show to get to know someone. So I came up with these 5 trivia questions that are really quick punch. If you have any elaboration, keep it really super short because people can go just buy this stuff if they want to buy it. So what book changed your life?
I'm going to say, well, it has to be The Leadership Challenge by Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner for many, many reasons. One being that it so deeply informs the work that I do in my own body of work, and that changed everything for me.
Awesome. A movie that inspires you.
Horse Feathers.
Is it? I've never heard of that one.
The Marx Brothers.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm a Marx Brothers freak from the time I was a kid, and Horse Feathers is one of their movies. I had to pick that one because I remember one summer at summer camp, a bunch of friends of mine and I, the camp had ordered that movie for everybody to watch, and we hijacked it and watched it like 100 times. So yeah, Horse Feathers.
Yeah, I thought it was Richard Marx, but I think it was Oscar Wilde that said, "Outside of a dog, a book is a man's best friend, but inside a dog, it's too dark to read."
That is really.
Since you're a musician, a song that gets you going, or that you love.
Pretty much anything by John Prine, who is my all-time favorite songwriter.
He is awesome.
Fact,
I will say.
I'm gonna give you see that picture hanging on the wall.
I do.
It's a portrait painted of John Prine, painted by my friend Mindy Tibieri, who I went to school with.
I have one photo of a musician too, and I don't think I ever really shared it on a show, so I would like to share that way of honoring an artist that much that you'd have them in your house. And that's Lloyd Cole. Lloyd Cole and the Commotions, but Lloyd Cole is quite a song.
Look him up.
Yeah, please do. I think
Cole.
Cole. Yep, and Lloyd, Lloyd. Brilliant, brilliant songwriter. I wish I knew him well enough to connect you to him. I just am so touched by his music and his ability. Being a DJ for 40 years, it's a little bit of an acclaim to say that's the person it's the only person I put in my
So
head.
I'm just got my Apple. I'm an Apple guy, so I got Apple Music.
Go to
Uh,
Essentials.
I'm looking at favorite album of his
I'd
for
go
you.
with Essentials, but Don't Get Weird, Army Baby is the one I would go with as his best.
So
I
he's
haven't heard
from
it.
he's in the 80s. So he's got collected recordings 83 to 89.
That'll be pretty good.
Okay, I'll start with that. Got it.
And the next one is Who's Your Hero?
So that's an interesting one. I'm going to say my hero would be, yeah,
Is that nice though?
Rattlesnakes. Anyway,
Yes.
it wasn't supposed to start playing, but it did.
I'm glad it did though.
Cool. So I'll listen to that later today. I'm going to say Aragorn, son of Arathorn.
A descendant of the Marx Brothers, I'm
No,
guessing.
that's from the Lord of the Rings. I have trouble with that question. I don't. So he's a fictional hero,
Yes.
one of the great fictional heroes in literature. But in terms of real life people, I don't have anybody that I would call a hero. I think I have a little problem with the idea of a person being a hero, because to me, hero is a very archetypal thing. It's like it's an ideal. I have lots of people that I look up to and admire, but nobody that I would call my hero, as it were.
Steve, I
Unless
will
we
do
get
better. I will do better.
into someday it shall be you, Dr.
And
Smiley.
the final question.
Yeah.
What quote do you live by? What quote do you live by?
So I'm going to give you two answers to that. One is a little bit presumptuous to quote myself, but do what you love in the service of people who love what you do. Is the phrase that I actually first wrote in The Radical Leap,
Mm-hmm.
that has been quoted back to me more than anything that I've ever written, and it is something that I strive to live by. Do what I love in the service of people who love what I do. So I'll say part two is a quote from somebody else, which would be, and since you just talked about dogs, money can buy you a fine dog, but only love can make it wag its tail. And that's from Kinky Friedman,
That's good.
who
I,
just passed away last year.
I thought you were going to say this just because of the nature of this call, is that I have my own quote that I created, and you can quote me on this, is I literally have no quote.
Literally is a word I use literally.
In my quote book, my pocket quote book, I have the first page. It says, um, when you write a quote, have it have some type of meaning, or don't write it at all. And you can quote me on that.
That's really good. That's very good.
Love you, brother. You are
I love
an
you
awesome
too.
friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending a portion of your birthday with me. I think the world of you, and you are a hero to me. I think you're awesome. And I think a hero is someone that does say what you said today, which is that I'm going to hold myself to be in account, that I'll be credible, that I'm going to overcome my fear of being powerful. And that's a hero, bro. I think that's
Well,
really,
thank you. Thank you for saying so. I don't think that should be heroic. I think that should be something we all do every day.
as the humble Steve replies. So have a phenomenal birthday. I look forward to seeing you this year. I hope that this call perpetuates a couple meetings. And since I do get to Kansas City, and now I know you live there, I hope to be your 13th.
Well, cool. Very cool. Maybe just one of the 12.
There you go. God bless you, brother.
Oh, man. Thank you.
And we are good.